Here's a look at the match stats. Many would have predicted a win
Did
for
we just
Barcelona.
Did we just blame somebody missing a chance because he shaved his highlights? Is it?
I think that's good.
That's my expert analysis for you.
All
You
right.
know, it's like Samson when he lost his hair. You know, he lost his strength. Just kidding.
Okay.
Lewandowski, we've seen the form he's in. Anyways, Barcelona, this is why today was so important. They now overtake Real Madrid to go to the top of the table by just 1 point. And Real Sociedad, you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom half of the standings to find them right there, still hovering over the relegation zone. All right, let's welcome in our Luis Garcia and former Barca man himself. Luis, we talked about this in the pre-show. This was a big night for Barcelona. Fireworks are probably going off at Montjuic as we speak. A big night for them to get a big win. And how was it for you?
It wasn't the big win that we all thought. I think the Barcelona missed 45 minutes to try to go ahead and to make this night a special one. It took like half an hour to wake up when they conceded the goal, and then suddenly they were in a rush. We saw a lot more energy in the second half with the replacement, of course, of Lamine Yamal that made an instant impact with a fantastic cross, 1v1. I don't know, Sergio Francisco, how he managed to change that position, because I think it changed for Barcelona straight away. Because when you got Lamine Yamal arriving in the second half fresh with the will of, I want to prove what I am, what I can bring to this Barcelona, and you bring Sergio, that is a fantastic player, don't forget, international, Spanish international, young talent, but it's a lot more about a much more attacking player. And you receive one of the best players in the league, or if we can call it the best player, the best on 1v1 situation, the best on the speed, on the power. And it was a mess all over in the Real Sociedad left side. So for Barcelona, it was all about waiting for the opportunity. Lewandowski could have had the third one. But I think that the Barcelona played with fire tonight. If it was another team with a little bit more composure in the last third, we could have seen Barcelona drawing or even losing this game. So I hope there is a wake-up call for Barcelona. They managed to get the result once again today, by 1 goal. But they need to address a few things if they want to continue keeping the pace of Real Madrid for the rest of the season.
Ale, is that how you saw it as well? Of course, job done for Hansi Flick and Barcelona, but playing with fire a little too close for comfort.
Yeah, no better example of that the sequence where Take Kubo hits it off the crossbar and then Barcelona goes on and hits the crossbar through Lewandowski. But that sequence in itself, late in the match, tells you how much Barcelona give opportunity to other teams. In this case, Real Sociedad. And let's not forget, while we joked in the pregame that, look, Real Sociedad can't score goals. Factually speaking, they cannot. You look at the numbers, and it's not a coincidence. This is a team that if you were to break down everything that they do, their most troublesome area is scoring goals. And it's a fact this year, and it has been a fact for them years in the past as well. And so you have Real Sociedad in the second half, even though Barcelona has dominated the game, even though Alex Ramiro has come up with save after save after save, you don't put the game away, and Take Kubo is one crossbar away from actually tying the game up late. One of the things that we talked about Barcelona late last season, if you go back to Inter in Champions League semi-final, let's just say, giving up goals late in the manner in which they did, that this team needed to learn from those sort of things and how to manage games, how to manage leads, how to manage results. There were moments late in this match in which you're still seeing this high line that doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense. And to Luis's point, had Real Sociedad had players that actually could run in behind. There was a play in which Mikel Oyarzabal gets in behind and just can't quite sort out his touches. But the spaces were there, the chances were there for Real Sociedad, and I suppose we can hang on to the fact that Ramiro, the goalkeeper for Real Sociedad, made a bunch of saves, but still the result was very much up in the air. I think Hansi Flick and Barcelona and these players would want this sort of matches to be a whole lot less stressful than this one ended up being.
Stevie, Hansi Flick will probably be looking at the defense after this game.
I think Hansi Flick's been looking at his defence since last year. I mean, you know, you can't, the best teams don't go through a season thinking about, okay, we are sometimes pretty vulnerable defensively. but you know what? We're going to score loads of goals. You know, to have that sort of outlook is a gamble. And he has to do something with the back line. There will be days when the forwards are not just quite at it. They're maybe not creating, or they're maybe not finishing. Whatever it may be, there'll be games and days when they're not at it. And so to win a title, you have to be able to rely on your back line to be solid. You have to rely on it to be exactly how you want it to be, game after game after game. You can't say that about Barcelona's back line. They give everybody an opportunity. And so if there was one thing that he has to try and figure out, that's what it would be.
What I would say, though, in the context of the title race in La Liga, when Barcelona see Real Madrid fall apart in the manner in which they did yesterday against Atletico Madrid, they'll take the 3 points however they
100%.
come against Real Sociedad. And mind you, I think there's also something to be said about the fact that you're short in numbers because of injuries and you still get 3 points. It wasn't the best from Barcelona, but it was effective and efficient enough. And again, in the context of the title race, you take 3 points however you can get them, especially when Real Madrid did what they did or didn't do yesterday against Atletico Madrid.
Well, Luis, as Alex said, it wasn't the best from Barcelona, but they did get one of their best, if not the best player back in Lamine Yamal, and talk about an instant impact. It was like he never left.
Yeah, it's like that. And again, but you can see that he wasn't as fresh as we saw in other games. He wanted to make an impression straight away because as soon as he grabbed the ball, went to face Sergio Gomez and on 1v1 situation, and he beat him quite easily. But right after that, he controlled himself. He saw that the game, it wasn't about trying to keep it going. It was about passing. The pass to Dani Olmo and back to Lewandowski, we didn't talk much about it, but we are talking about a player that is left-footed. Like big left footed. It's not something that the right one is fantastic or brilliant. It's good, but that's a very good pass. It was with enough space for Dani Olmo to arrive. No shot, no goal, the perfect pace. So we are talking about a player that sort of when he's on the field, he just makes the difference. And we've been talking about what happened with this Barcelona, with Rafinha and without Lamine Yamal. Rafinha gives you things, of course, runs, a lot of work. He's a threat sometimes. He likes to go in diagonal. But what Lamine Yamal gives you is a lot more because he attracts play. In the moment that he's on the ball, 2-3 players have to get closer to cover spaces. And then there are other ones that get free. Today we saw Pedri, we saw Lewandowski, we saw Dani Olmo receiving the ball right after Lamine Yamal have the ball. That's what he creates. And the moment that he's facing 1v1, you know there is trouble. Because right now, it's not only about stopping his left foot that is going to fantastic touch. It's about also the right one. The goal from Lewandowski come from a fantastic cross, and the second pass to Dani Olmo, and then finish it from Lewandowski come from a right pass. So it's a very difficult way of stopping a player like this, much more when he comes and he feels that he wants to show up. So fantastic, once again, Lamine Yamal in the minutes that he's been on the field, and fantastic for Barcelona that he's back for that very important game, the midweek against Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, well, one of the players that made a big difference today as well is Jules Koundé. He was one of the goal scorers, and he got to catch up with our Gemma Soler.
Yes, with Jules Koundé, congratulations on the win and congratulations on your goal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So it was a tough game. It was very difficult to break this Real Sociedad wall.
Yeah, it was difficult. I think in the first half, we had control, obviously, but they defended very well, and we also should have played a little bit faster from side to side. And I think on the second half, the first 20 minutes, we did that very well. We really had the control of the ball. We scored another goal. And after that, the 20-25 last minute, I think we made it difficult. We made it difficult. Obviously, they also played well, but I think that we didn't pay enough attention as far as closing the pass inside. And at the end of the day, you run and towards your goal, and it makes it more difficult.
So, and then there is, at the end of the first half, there is an action where the defenders of Real Sociedad pull your hair. I guess you complained a bit, and just the next action, you managed to get that goal.
Yeah, no, I think actually he scratched with his nail. He scratched the back of my neck, so it was a little bit painful, but it's fine. And at the end of the day, Marcus gave me a great ball. That's something we work on very hard on the corner and else. So happy for my first goal of the season.
Yeah, you always score important goals. That one in the final of the Copa del Rey today, the crowd were very happy.
Yeah. I mean, it's always nice to score a goal. Obviously, my first task is always to defend. That's where I'm more focused in. But obviously, it's also part of my position to also sometimes like give assist and goal. So it's always a good moment.
Did you watch the derby yesterday? Were you happy with the result, I guess, because you are top of the table now?
Yeah, I watch it as a fan of football. I always love watching football. So yeah, I watch it, and obviously the result benefits us today. We leader, but we know that it's still the beginning of the season, and there is a long way to go.
So you have the fireworks now. Enjoy the victory and the fireworks.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jules Koundé there finding the back of the net. That started with the breakthrough for Barcelona just before halftime, Ale.
And an important player for Barcelona, who I still think he's playing out of position as a right back, but continues to do a job on that side and has continued to improve his plays and his value to this group. And you notice when he's not on the field, when he's not on the right-hand side of that back line, you notice that this team has difficulties defensively. Again, an important player that I don't think gets the sort of appreciation that he should, given the fact that we're talking about Lamine Yamal, and Pedri, and Lewandowski, and Ferran Torres. Jules Koundé has been critical to their success.
All right, well, we mentioned how Szczesny has been recalled in between the sticks for Barcelona after Joan Garcia underwent surgery, so he's out for a couple of weeks. Well, he also got to catch up with Gemma.
Yes, with Tech, congratulations on this win.
Thank you very much. It was a very tough game for us.
So it was 4 months and a half approx that you didn't play. Was it challenging to come back in a game tough like this one?
Yes, because of course you don't expect to play. My role this season is clear for the team, and I want to make sure that Joan plays as good as he can and support him in his role. So, first thought, not happy about Joan's injury, but then, you have to get focused and prepare for this few weeks where I have to replace him, and I'm just trying to do my best.
So today was a tough game, but you have ahead of you PSG in 3 days, maybe a potential El Clásico in less than a month. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, as I said, I'm just preparing game by game. Wasn't expecting to be playing these fixtures this season. Now I'm given a chance, so I'll just try to do my best for the team and make sure we don't feel Joan's absence as much, because he's a great goalkeeper. He's done a fantastic job. His potential to be one of the best in the world is amazing, and so it's not an easy job, but I'll try to do my best.
But you are still undefeated in La Liga in all your games, and also you are top of the table today. I don't know if you watched the derby, Madrid derby yesterday, and you were happy with the result.
I mean, I saw the result. I don't really watch football, but I saw the result, and of course, when you get the chance to go top of the league, whether it's at the start of the season or at the end of the season, you have to take it because you want to be putting pressure on the teams below us. We felt comfortable as a leader last year, and hopefully we'll be just as comfortable and we'll keep that position for a long time.
So just one last question about Lamine Yamal. He's been out for 4 games, 1 minute, and he does that amazing assist.
Yeah, he's a good player, isn't he?
He's a good player, I think.
Yeah, he makes a difference. I thought Rooney played also really well. He was unlucky not to score the goal, but made an unbelievable save against him. So when he's given a chance, he can also step up and make a difference. But when Lamine comes on, you can just feel the atmosphere at the stadium. Something changes, and he made a difference today.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wojciech Szczesny, may he never change. Luis, you were laughing, but Ali, what did you want to say?
Well, no, I, just very quickly, the contrast between Jules Koundé and Wojciech Szczesny. Jules Koundé, well, yes, I'm a fan of the game. I'm a fan of football. Wojciech Szczesny is like, look, bro.
I had better things to do.
I check in here. I come and do whatever I need to do. I go home. I'm not watching any of this. Of this nonsense. I'm not bothered with any of this. It's different ways to approach a career. But for Wojciech Szczesny, what a role he has.
Yeah.
So he comes in and has an opportunity to play. But whenever Joan Garcia, there's nobody rooting harder for Joan Garcia to come back than Wojciech Szczesny. He's not like, let me get a chance to play. He's like, John, please,
like,
come on, man. Now I have to work. I don't want any of this.
Surgery? Why? Is it necessary? But Luis, let me come to you on that because Gemma pointed it out, and as what Ale is saying, like, you know, Szczesny was probably just chilling. He said, you know, he was living his best life, hoping it was going to be Joan Garcia going up against PSG in the Champions League. But now it is Szczesny. But does that fill you with some confidence still, knowing that he has the experience that he does?
Give me confidence what I saw last year, not because right now, and he did actually a good job today. It's because a player who was retired and managed to get into the first first keeper for Barcelona in a crucial parade that he was the league and the Champions League semi-final and winning the league, being important, not just being there, just being important in important games. So that's what it gives me hope and I enjoy the most. And much more when you see a player who understands his role. Sometimes when you get older and you get closer to your retirement, you want to show out. You want to show that you are good and then that you keep going. And no, he understands that he right now is more like a mentor for Joan Garcia and for coaching the other two players who are going to be the future for Barcelona. And he's there to try to guide them, to try to show them that doing the hard work that he put back in the days, you can become one of the best players. He mentioned Joan Garcia to become one of the best keepers in the world. So I think he's just fantastic, and much more because he grabs there, he embraces that position, and when it's the time to prove and to show his ability to be an important keeper, he does it today, and I'm sure that he's going to do against Paris Saint-Germain and whatever they need him, because that's what a pure professional does. Be ready for what is needed from him.
All right, well, unlike the last couple of weeks, we're finally giving Luis Garcia an early night. He doesn't have to be up till midnight. Luis, what are you going to do with this early night?
Watch football.
Oh, he's a fan of the game and a professional. Luis Garcia, thank you so very much. And I'm pretty sure Luis will be back for Barcelona's next La Liga game. They are taking a trip to Sevilla. That's Sunday, 9:45 a.m. Early start, at least for us here in the US, ESPN Plus and ESPN Deportes. All right, well, here's the top half of the Premier League standings. Arsenal now up to second place, 2 points behind Liverpool, and that is making our Stevie Nicol feel very, very uncomfortable beside us. But at the moment, let's welcome in Frank Leboeuf, our world champion, and of course, Nader Manua. Talk about a sight for sore eyes. But Stevie, let me quickly start with you. You say it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. Arsenal gaining ground on Liverpool. Is this a statement win from the Gunners?
I don't think it's a statement win. I think they got what they deserved, to be honest. I mean, they dominated this game, in my opinion. They were by far the better side. And actually, the man, Nick Pope, that kept Newcastle in this game, he had at least 3 world-class saves in this game that kept them in the game. But unfortunately, the man that kept them in the game cost them 2 points right at the end because he made a complete and utter mess of the ball that was floated in. But if you take that away, what is he doing? Trying to play out from the back? Newcastle couldn't breathe. They hadn't been able to breathe for about the previous 20, 25, whatever minutes. And all of a sudden, in the 94th minute, he's trying to rush and play a ball to, I don't know who, because there was nobody up front. And it ends up costing them. So, listen, if you look at the big picture, Arsenal deserve to win this game 100%.
Nader, is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, that's exactly how I see it. And I think it's good that Stevie mentioned that point for Pope when he tries to make that quick counter-attack. And he did one previously from a throw. But it's just not the right time to be doing it. Newcastle were under so much pressure for probably the last half hour of that game, if not longer. So maybe he's just trying to take the sting out of the game a little bit. But, you know, it's just a reminder for the way that football is, because he was great for every other minute in the game. He was great. But those last 2 minutes, some of the decision-making, it's cost his side. And as you saw from that set piece where they scored at the end, he was nowhere near being close enough to come out to get it. But he's thinking, I need to impact it. But he needs to just sort of deal with that in a different manner. And those little mistakes that make such a big difference into, you know, we're talking about Newcastle, to talk about Arsenal. I thought overall it was a really good performance. Going up there to play against Newcastle, it's always a tough, hostile affair. But in fairness, Arsenal mixed it with Newcastle. They had the strength, they had the power. There was also little bits of nice play with the likes of Eze and so on. And then you also knew that there was going to be a chance from the set piece. And the more they push and they push and they push, if you are to get points away from them, you have to sort of manage those moments. But Newcastle, for as much as they were good for the 94 minutes, you've got to go all the way till the end. And that goal coming in, it's a great delivery. But again, we've seen a goalkeeper basically being pinned by Saliba, and this is all part of the plan. They get their head to it. They've got big players in the box, and it's a deserving win for them. And when they were going crazy in the corner, I think it's very much deserved, because I think for them to finally beat Newcastle after the recent games they've had against them in the Cup, in the league and so on, I think they'll take a lot of belief from that game.
Frank, what did you think about the game? A couple of the points that the boys pointed out here, of course, questionable decision-making by some of the Newcastle players, especially the goalkeeper. Or does it just show Arsenal's mental fortitude to get this win?
Yeah, I've been impressed by the Gunners at the end of the game. I thought they will maybe give up because Nick Pope was on fire, but they deserve to win. There is no contest for me. They worked hard. They tried better than Newcastle. Newcastle fought hard, but not the same level of values, I would say, comparing to the two teams. But I want to talk about the referees. I mean, the referees in the world generally, where they need to have uniform decisions. I mean, I completely agree with the fact that there is no penalty on Pop, but I remember Roberto Sanchez doing exactly the same last week, touching the ball, and the referee gave him a red card and a free kick. Then after, on the Gabriel handball, I remember Champions League, last goal from Real Madrid against Marseille, penalty, tackle from Medina, he touched the ball, and then he touched with his hand, was on the floor, and they gave a penalty. So I don't know where to stand anymore. They should have, again, a uniform decision to make sure that we understand the football. And it's not randomly one ref gives something and another one doesn't, and the other one doesn't. So, but otherwise, I saw a great game of football, especially the first half, and especially from the Gunners. And again, that was crucial for them to score that second goal. Yeah, Nick Pope, Stevie, he made 3 fantastic saves, but the corner kick that they have, then when the Gunners score, is because Nick Pope tries to win the game and kick the ball like stupidly, loses the ball, and there is a counter-attack, there is a corner kick, and there is a goal for Arsenal. And now sometimes you have to know how to draw. You have to stop, calm down, and maybe get the 1 point. That's much better than 0.
Oh, not the playing for a draw. That's the last thing we want to hear. But Ale, we were, of course, on the Barcelona game, but you were keeping a close eye on this one, and the officiating made you go, as well.
Well, to Frank's point, and he's addressing the Marseille penalty or against Marseille for Real Madrid, and I would tell Frank, well, this potential handball today was far more of a penalty than that one was against Medina and against Marseille for Real Madrid. And yet this one was not given, and for the life of me, I couldn't understand it. And they're looking at the video, and I'm thinking, well, I guess they're looking for a touch of the shin, but that arm is all the way up here, and if there was a touch by the shin, it really doesn't change the ball flight at all whatsoever. That ball is going to that arm no matter what.
It's like a graze, a little shin.
And look.
But then is that not what Frank's talking about, though? Frank's talking about, can we get some generality across the board? If it does touch the shin, regardless of how hard, then it's a deflection, isn't it?
Yeah, but
that negates it.
The point that Frank just made is that a play that was less of a handball was given as a penalty in Champions League 3-4 days ago. And so
which is wrong.
Okay, maybe so. I'm saying that this was more of a penalty than that one. I'm not. I don't know what your point is, to be honest with you.
The point is that I thought you said that there was no touch. You didn't think there was a touch.
If there was a touch, it was the slightest of touches.
And that's my point. It doesn't matter if it's the slightest of touches. Across the board, if it's a ricochet and it hits your hand, regardless of where your hand is, then it shouldn't be a penalty.
Yeah, but I think
you...
Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, sorry. I think you are agreeing. In fact, I think the referee didn't give the penalty because supposedly Gabriel touched the ball with his shin. Whatever. The inconsistency of their decision is demergeable for the football, where again Medina tackles, it barely touches the ball with his hand, was already on the floor, so it doesn't affect anything in the game. Comparing to, and I agree with Ali, Gabriel lifting his hand is being touched, and we don't care if he's being touched by part of his body before, but they have to to clear it up, to explain to us what's going on, because we don't get it. Even in the studio right now, we're not able to explain what kind of decision we have seen from referees. So it's getting insane in a way that it's too stupid.
Yeah, the other thing I would say is, while I think the result ends up being fair in regards to Arsenal deserving to win against Newcastle, what's unfair, because see, football can be fair and unfair at the same time. It's unfair that Gabriel ends up scoring the game-winning goal, where you can argue that perhaps he should not have been on the field because he was upset that Voltemade had scored on him. And right off the kickoff, he went and gave the old sort of forearm kind of fist shove to the face of Voltemade. And nothing happened. There's a lot of finger pointing and nothing happened. But he went straight at Voltemade with the ball being nowhere near in play, or nowhere near them too. So look, you want to talk about fairness? There's no fairness in this game. Fairness doesn't account for anything. In the end, Gabriel goes home with 3 points, celebrating, scoring a game-winning goal, and Nick Voltemade is sitting in the bench going, we just lost again.
Siempre a mí. Yeah, siempre a mí. Natum, let's bring in Natum, because Natum's always the coolest head on this panel. I saw you scratching your goatee that you don't have over there, Natum. Where do you stand in all of this?
In regards to the refereeing decision, I think I'm with Frank in the fact that you want the referees to almost educate you in terms of like what we're supposed to see, because for as much as we've played the game, we don't know every sort of line of that rule book as such. But with the handball, I think essentially the issue comes because the referee didn't give it. I reckon if the referee did give the penalty, I don't think they would have said we're going to overturn it. But instead, they're looking for a grace to confirm the referee's decision as such. And it did feel strange in the time because you're sort of thinking, well, was that right? Was that wrong? But to go the other way and to give credit. So for the penalty, the one on Gyökeres, I didn't think it was a penalty, but I only thought that after they confirmed that something was to be looked at. I did not see that touch to start with. And then the moment they say that the touch is there, it changes your perception of it. And I think the way that they describe it in terms of like Pope touched the ball first and the man, all of a sudden I can buy into that a bit more. But it's one of those deciding things where Arsenal fans will be adamant it's a penalty, Newcastle adamant that it's not. But the handball one, I think the one in Marseille-Real Madrid probably feels a bit different if my memory serves me right in terms of the referee giving the decision. But on this time, because the referee didn't give it, I think it would have taken a lot for him to go the other way. So it's a bit confusing, but essentially, I think in the end, fairness sort of reigns in some ways.
So is Natum saying that for him it was a penalty or not? Because there was a lot of coming and going, and I don't know that you took an actual position.
What I was talking about process, Ali. I was talking about process because the referee didn't give the penalty. The decision is harder to overturn, whereas I think if he did, they'd probably say the opposite. So I don't think it's a penalty because technically speaking, it's brushed his leg. But he's very, very lucky in the fact that it has brushed his leg because it's so minute, as you guys say. But if we say that every time it touches his leg, it shouldn't matter, before you know it, there'll be some penalties being given, which, again, we probably not agree with. So I'm OK with it, technically speaking, according to the law.
Oh, boy. Technically speaking, trust
Alexi,
process is what I
So what they need to do then, they all need to get together and make a rule. I mean, how difficult can it be that we just unilaterally go, right, if the ball ricochets off a part of your body then hits your hand regardless, it's not a penalty. But if it doesn't, it is. I mean, is that so difficult? I mean, the Real Madrid one, we all know is completely wrong. We all know that's completely wrong. But at least let's get to a position where we know exactly what is and what isn't.
Stevie,
regardless of whether we argue whether we think it's right or wrong. If we say, right, this is what's going to happen if this situation happens, whether you think it's right or whether you think it's wrong, this is how the game's going to be refereed. And then at least we kind of know what is and what isn't, regardless of our own opinion whether it should or shouldn't be.
Stevie, football has always been a game of interpretation as well, you know, so it's very hard to be strict and formal. But when you see an action like Gabriel, you cannot deny, and I'm sorry, the coolest guy in the panel today, you know, that I'm sorry you're wrong, my dear, because it's obvious. And we don't care, and he's been touched by another part of the body. It's absolutely obvious. Why, you didn't see the handball? Yeah, I take an appointment with you for the eye doctor. You didn't see the handball.
My whole point is that in the game today, never ever before has there been such confusion about something.
No.
Never before. We at least had good ideas and we accepted things. Now, I mean, the four of us have got 1,000, maybe 2,000 games between the four of us. But we all are not quite sure what should and shouldn't be or is or isn't. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I would invite all of you to take Nathan's approach to this. Clearly, he's far more relaxed about all of it. Just trust the process. Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the technicalities.
Right.
We'll be good. It's fine.
Trust the
it's
process.
good. Trust the
I'm of the
process.
Yeah, but
Nathan
we love
school
you.
of thought.
Nathan, we love you. So don't be offended by what we say. We love you. And
Nathan's got some
you're
thick
still our
skin.
favorites.
But speaking of Nathan, let me come to you now about what we saw from Arsenal. How impressed by Mikel Arteta's men are you?
Yeah, I'm very impressed, to be honest. And I think one of the more impressive parts about it was the fact that there were key players who say weren't playing, like Odegaard, the captain, for example. You know, in years gone by, you've seen Ben White sort of dominate on that right-hand side. I thought Mosquera did well, apart from, you know, giving away the corner that led to the goal. And you can see the sort of opportunities that they have in midfield as well. Martinelli coming off the bench. You've got Marino coming off the bench. You've got, like, Madueke essentially is coming in a few weeks as well. So that depth is really interesting, because I thought previously with Arsenal, the depth that they had was one whereby when one or two players stepped out, you saw a complete change in how they played. They didn't feel as dangerous, didn't feel like the same sort of side. But it seems at the moment, whichever 11 he puts out, you know the job that they're going to do. You know, you're talking about Miles Lewis-Skelly, a youngster coming on who's an England international to replace an Italian international. You've got options at the back, you know, you've got options in midfield, and it can look however it needs to look. Eze, for example, someone starting off his career at Arsenal as well. So I was impressed, and I think going up to Newcastle, and this is like a longer piece as such, but historically Arsenal were known for their soft centre. That doesn't exist anymore. You could argue they're probably one of the strongest, toughest, and almost like at times bully sides in the Premier League. But you add to that the fact that playing against a low block like Newcastle had today, they create some real good opportunities through really nice bits of play, because they've also got some fantastic footballers in there as well. So that balance and the opportunities that they have and the players they have available right now, it does give you a positive outlook. And again, I said it before, for them to beat Newcastle, finally, because if you look back at the last 3-4 games, it's been really tough for them. That's a monkey off their back, because they've shown that they can do it. And this Newcastle side would have thought that they had Arsenal's number, but today in the end, they absolutely did not.
Because Newcastle weren't the only ones cupping L's this weekend, let me tell you.
No.
Liverpool got a big at the hands of Crystal Palace.
No.
And Stevie Nicol was rattled. But before we get Stevie's reaction, let's hear from Arne Slot talking about conceding that late winner.
We can only blame ourselves by defending is the way we did. So one of our players decided to run out because he wanted to play a counter-attack, which was of no use because time was up. So it was only about defending. So yeah, maybe we were too offensively minded. Not we, one player was too offensively minded in that moment, which led to them scoring the winner, us losing the game.
All right, Stevie Nicol, thoughts on, of course, the game overall and what Arne Slot had to say?
I don't like what Arne Slot's talking about.
For the first time.
Well, I don't know, because I heard it and I tried to figure out what he was talking about. And I'm going to assume it's Frimpong, because that can be the only answer. And Frimpong, when the throw comes in, the first header up in the air, Frimpong takes a couple of steps out. The play before the throw-in, Kerekes clears the ball with his right foot and sticks it on the halfway line. So that's where the problem is. The problem isn't Frimpong trying to go forward. Because Frimpong, when he was brought on, I guarantee, again, was told, you get forward, we're getting beat here, you get forward every single minute and every chance you can. So he's hyped up to go forward. But as I said, he does get back in. So for me, that's not the problem. The problem was Kerekes. That's where, if he's pointing a finger, that's where he should be pointing at.
And you're pointing the finger at Kerekes. Let's continue to point the finger anywhere other than Frimpong. 3 headers. 3 headers after the throw-in. And you didn't win. You didn't clear your lines. And eventually we're going to say, oh, it's Frimpong. That was the issue. It wasn't the 3 headers. It wasn't the Kerekes misclearance. It's Frimpong because he took a couple of steps forward. And in saying that, and in pointing the finger at Frimpong or pointing the finger at one specific situation, I think you're losing sight of the more important sort of global point about Liverpool. We just saw the stats. They had more than 70% possession. Liverpool did. And yet in the expected goals, whatever you may think of that stat, Crystal Palace's number was higher than that of Liverpool's.
Yeah.
So without having the ball, they seem to have been more dangerous. without having the ball, they seem to have created more problems. And that speaks to something that I think has been an issue for Liverpool from the very beginning of the season. This team, while they may have a lot of names that offensively are impressive, they lack balance and they lack strength in areas in which you need to be strong in order to win a league title. Now, we keep saying they're going to get better. They're going to get better. And all of that rhetoric was acceptable so long as the team was perfect. But now that the team is not perfect, we go back to, wait a minute, you haven't gotten better. You're not taking a step forward. Games keep coming and going, and we're still seeing the same things. So Arne Slot, you can focus on Jeremy Frimpong or one specific situation, but that's ignoring a much bigger picture and a much broader issue for this club right now.
Do you know, I think this particular game is absolutely, in my opinion, mostly on the players. You look at that stat of 70%. If you didn't see this game and you look at those stats, you'll be like, wow. Had Liverpool been better with the ball, the stats would have been 90%.
Yeah.
That's how much of the ball they had. But they kept coughing it up against the best counter-attacking team in the Premier League, and they should have been 4-0 down at half-time with all that possession. That's the biggest problem. I think sometimes we sit here and we talk about Wirtz, and we talk about Isak, and we talk about all the money they spent and what's Arne Slot going to do. But, you know, I think we've let the players off a little too much because they've been finding late goals and gotten victories. Mm-hmm. The players are going to have to look at themselves because it's not just one person losing the ball. The first 45 minutes was ridiculous. It was like watching a bunch of school kids coughing the ball up, picking the wrong pass, trying the wrong pass, making the wrong decision. I mean, it was horrendous. It was easily the worst half of football under Arne Slot since he got to Liverpool. So the second half, you've got to go for it. You make a lot of changes. You know, Ali's right. There's 3 headers, but at the same time, you've taken all your defensive players off pretty much. So that makes it even harder. But yeah, for me, this one's on the players big time. I'm sorry.
Nathan, would you feel some type of way hearing your coach make comments like what Arne Slot had to say?
I think it depends. If he's not said it to me in the dressing room, then I would find it quite strange, yes. And to be honest, the weirdest thing is the fact that he's been so specific, essentially about one player, but not mentioning the player's name. I don't think he needs to say overall anyway. I think the analysis of that goal, as the case of every goal, you could very much, like, as I say, break stuff down and know where he could have done better. I think Stevie's point about Kirkes not kicking the ball away with his right foot is a brilliant one because it's set so nicely for him to just swing, just your Premier League player, just send that. But instead, he send that for a throw-in against Crystal Palace. That is one of their strengths. Them in transition and those long throw-ins and set pieces are a big danger. So to do that so late in the game, you know, it's almost beggars belief to a certain extent. But yeah, if I was Jeremy Frimpong, I don't know, man. I think at times as a player, and I'm sure everyone would agree with this, you know when you've got your fingerprints on like a goal that you've conceded. You know when you have. But his art isn't necessarily going to be the biggest part of that goal itself because there are other moments that they could have managed. The 3 headers, the clearance before, the fact that they're being sliced open so many times during the game as well. And in some ways, it's just what happens when you're under pressure. Moments can happen like that. The ball drop into Nketiah, the finish, all that stuff. I don't think Frimpong's walking away thinking, oh my God, I wish I could have done this better. Because the mistake is a really small, subtle one. And as Stevie said, he gets back in. But sometimes the ball doesn't fall your way. But there are a ton of other issues. And I just don't get why Slot decided to talk about something so specifically, but then not mention the player as well. And to put that loss down to him, essentially, is what it sounds like, what it feels like. And if I was a player, I think I'd be a bit disappointed, to be honest.
Some PTSD there from Nato saying, you know, you have your fingerprints in goals. You know, you can feel it.
You know it.
You can sense it.
You know when it's your fault. You know when it's your fault.
It doesn't make any sense after you've played the way you played. You could understand him coming out with something like that somewhat if you had actually played well, dominated the game, hadn't taken your chances, you lose a late goal. You could kind of see where that might be what you would come out with. But when you're as bad as they were, to come out with that is, I'm sorry, you're backing up the wrong tree, Arnie.
All right, well, let's... Premier League, Chelsea. Oh, my days. Back-to-back league losses for the world champions. Frank, you know I'm coming straight to you. What is going on with your Blues?
Well, I know that, and I was expecting, something, technical problem that I could interfere, my discussion with you. But Yes, Chalobah has been red carded, and it's a big factor in maybe the fact that Brighton could win that game. But I think when you are Chelsea and you spend like 300 million pounds on Brighton former players, you expect them to be less good as you should be, and even 10 against 11. So you have no kind of excuses in the fact that even 10 against 11, you should have done better. And the second goal, on the header that I saw, I mean, I don't know if you're going to see the game, but the goal or not, but Badiashile and Enzo Fernandez don't check what's going on behind them. And even if you play 10 against 11, at least if you are Chelsea, you should be capable of getting a draw from that game if you cannot win it. And that's the only thing I can say. And the keeper is completely alone when he makes his header, and after the game, of course, he's over. The third goal doesn't even count because you try something and you lose 3-1. But you have, and again, I was talking about that with Newcastle. Sometimes you have to make sure you can draw and get 1 point. Because maybe you're unfortunate, maybe you've been too clumsy, maybe you're 10 against 11, but that's what it is, and you have to be professional. And on that goal, some players were sloppy, and that's why you lose a game like that. But it's lots of defeats in a short time for Chelsea, so they have to react.
Stevie, you watched this game closely as well. What went wrong for Chelsea? Well,
they were absolutely cruising until they go down to 10 men. Quite frankly.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, first half, going one up half time, really comfortable. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, unless Brighton do something drastic here, like make full subs as he sometimes does, the coach. But then when the red card comes, it just encourages Brighton to push forward, push you back. And we know Brighton, if they're on the game and their passing's right, they're going to hurt you, and they're certainly going to hurt you if they've got a man up. And so yeah, I mean, it kind of, when the equaliser came from Welbeck, it kind of felt inevitable. At the same time, Reece James, in my opinion, at 2-1, possibly should have had a penalty. Never really saw it again, but I thought it was a penalty. And then, of course, the Kuiper then finishes the game off. But again, to be honest, Chelsea's only got themselves to blame for going down to 10 men.
Once again, for back-to-back games. Well, I tell you who has no blame on themselves. Manchester City. Let's talk about them, shall we?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Nato. All right, Nato. All right.
Yes, indeed. My boy Nato said, I'm not copying any losses this weekend. Look at him celebrating, dancing. Yay. He needs to do the Erling Haaland peaceful Zen celebration. Nato, you feeling good about City, aren't you? Even though it was Burnley, as you guys consistently remind everybody, like Manchester United, whenever we get any decent performance there. But
hey, calm down.
We're not talking about United today. Nato, you feeling pretty good about City after all the criticism that they came under at the start of the season?
Not necessarily feeling great about them, but I just feel like I can breathe now. I think now they've had a couple of better results, and obviously this one against Burnley is one that was very much expected, and if they didn't win in a significant manner, then it would be critiques levelled at them again. But the fact is, there are one or two players who are getting into form, one of them being a Phil Foden. You're looking at Doku starting the season really well. Haaland's somehow got 8 goals already this season, so there are positives there. I think Rodri being missing and potentially being injured is a concern, and other players in certain areas, but the fact is they're actually winning some games of football now, and it coincided with, say, Liverpool dropping points, so that gap all of a sudden doesn't feel as enormous as it did maybe a few days earlier. And yes, they're not a perfect outfit whatsoever, but if they do find form, if they do find key players in form as well, then it can be more positive. But as you say, as you rightly said, City beating Burnley is not going to be the most memorable result this season. But the fact is, there's still a nice vibe and a nice little feeling going into the game against Monaco in midweek in the Champions League.
I don't understand Nato. I really don't. See, in the early part of the season, the house was on fire. We bring him on the show, and everybody's having a go at Manchester City. Everybody's having a go at Nato. And he was all Mr. Positive and happy about Manchester City. It's like, oh, things are going to be okay. And Pep Guardiola's going to get it right. And I believe in what we're doing. And this, that, and the other. Now that they actually won a couple of games, now it's like, well, I'm not. It's really
a little down.
Yeah. Are we not celebrating wins anymore? Is this what happens?
Natom's cool. No. He's level-headed.
He's diplomatic.
No. He's diplomatic, exactly.
No. Okay. No. I just know I'm not allowed to enjoy City winning a game against Burnley because I'll get laughed out of the room. So I'm just going to play it down. Hopefully when they win another game, like unfortunately, I couldn't talk about that game against United, whenever that was. But in the future, should that happen again, please make sure I'm on and make sure Alexis is hosting.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. I was giving you your flowers, Nathan. When have I ever laughed at you and Manchester City wins? Never. Because they have come thick and heavy these last couple of years, let me tell you.
Hey, really, calm down.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't get involved.
Stevie and Frank are the only ones rattled from popping L's this week.
You're trying to prop up Manchester United now? Good luck with that.
No, not propping up Man United. I'm just saying I would never get on Natum's case.
Okay.
Ever.
All right. Alexis.
I watched the game. I went to get my nails done and I pulled up the game and my nail girl got into it. A lot of goals. A lot of goals.
Yeah, but not a lot of goal scorers.
It was
But not a lot of No, we didn't have it. All right, MLS now. St. Louis against LAFC. Dennis Bouanga, who has just been on quite the run, and here he is giving them the lead.
Wow. It'd be nice if the defender would step up before they let Son get in the box. Stands off him, lets him pick his spot, and then it's a good finish from there.
Good finish from Sonny. Indeed, 60th minute now. Guess who gets found again?
Even then,
That's
you gotta step up to him. You gotta close down the space. You cannot allow this guy to just pick and choose what he does because he's gonna hurt you, and he did.
He does hurt them indeed. It is Sonny after all. And Sonny and LAFC, there they are when we look at the Western Conference standings. They're still very much in the top 10 in 4th position. Welcome into extra time. Oh, would you like that little
Can I just throw
serenade?
something in?
Yeah.
What? Go ahead.
You know, during the show, when Chesney turned around and said, I don't watch football.
Yeah.
It's no surprise he's a goalkeeper.
Where's Xhaka?
I played with a goalkeeper at Liverpool called Mike Hooper, and I found out a couple of years ago I was texting him or something, and he said I didn't even like football. He didn't even like football.
But you just sacrificed so much to make it your career.
Well, he clearly wasn't. I mean, now I think about it, he would get a phone call on a Saturday night to be told there was a black-breasted, spotted whatever had been seen in the Orkneys. Like a rare bird had been spotted in the Orkney. And he'd get in his car from Liverpool and drive to Orkney and take a picture of it, see it, and then drive all the way back. And then he'd be in training on the Monday morning and he'd be like, half asleep.
So a proper professional. So bird watching was his passion.
What's the name of it? What do you call bird watchers? What are they called?
I don't know. I don't really.
They're not bird watchers?
No, there's a name for it.
I thought they were just bird watchers.
There's a name for it, but he would rather have done that.
If I
may have a word on that. Yeah, when I was young, I was crazy about football, so I was watching any games. But when it became my job, I can tell you, I was barely watching football because I didn't want to bring my job at home and bother my ex-wife with that. So
that explains a lot.
Now I watch a lot. I never watched.
That explains a lot.
I never watched so many games, because working for ESPN. But I tell you, I wasn't watching games. I didn't want to bother my ex-wife with that sport because it was taking already too much time with me. But I'm not like Szczesny saying, well, I don't care, I don't want to watch it. No, I loved it, but I needed a break as well.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Also, #FC Extra Time. You have been talking about the Eintracht Frankfurt Borussia Mönchengladbach since the moment I showed up hours ago.
It was a wild game.
Yes, it was, right? You've been talking about it. Just to share with people how the sausage is made. This right here are shot sheets where we get the information in terms of
the goal scorers in order.
Who scored the goals in order, who assisted the goals. Because it's impossible to be watching 50 games at a time.
Exactly.
Right?
And remember every single goal scorer in a game with 10 goals.
So we get this information. We did not get the shot sheet for that game. So I thought that one person that actually had been obsessed with this match would have that information. And this is where my question actually comes up. Why do you have a computer if you don't use it when we need it?
I was trying to. It wasn't loading in time.
What? Hold on, man. I thought you watched the game. Why would you need a computer?
I'm not going to remember every single goal scorer in
you never remembered one.
In the order. Yes, I did. I said Robin Koch.
So you know when you got
twice.
you know when you got your nails done? Did you
Yeah.
start just after the kickoff and then get back just at the end when it was 5-5?
First of all, just because you know the goal scorers doesn't mean that the highlights are going to represent just all the goals.
Right, but my question is, you have a computer
that is loaded now, but it didn't load well.
fueled by the internet, and where you can actually find that information in real time, and you're looking at us, Stevie and me, to come up with the names of the players that are scoring the goals.
For Borussia Mönchengladbach, it is.
What did you say there?
We're all human.
Just because you saw all the goals doesn't mean what?
That you remember all in the exact order that they were scored.
Hey guys,
to reflect the exact highlights.
the three of you in the studio, it's late in England and in France, you know.
Yeah.
Can we get the question?
I'm sorry, I forgot that you don't watch games. I'm sorry, Frank, my bad.
Yeah.
Let's actually get into the questions,
names
shall
and
we?
the computer and the blah, blah, blah. Oh,
We'll argue about lost shot sheets later. First question now. Why is the narrative always about how a team like Liverpool lost and not about how Palace won? If I was a Palace supporter, I'd be furious with the pundits. Nadam, you're always furious with pundits.
Oh, I hate pundits. I hate pundits, hate punditry. I don't listen to anybody, I just do the job. I think ultimately Liverpool are going to be the biggest story, aren't they? You know, not everybody can be the main character within something, and we're talking about Liverpool side who are potentially trying to win a league. And obviously, Palace are on 18 games unbeaten, they look the part and so on, but that is essentially what's going to lead. I think we see the Palace story, we see how they play, and we give them credit. You know, look back at what everybody said about Palace in the last few months or year or so with the success that they've had in terms of winning the FA Cup. The stars, think how many times we've spoken about like an Ibereze. We've talked about Glasner, the players, the setup, you know, Richards at the back, Wharton in midfield. You know, we know that, and they're performing to their best. So when Liverpool don't, I think it's something that's worth discussing. And also, to add a few points, it's ornithology, that's the study of birds. And also, Alexis, you've asked for Xfinity Wi-Fi in the studio because the Wi-Fi is booming. And also, in terms of
But you know,
the
the Wi-Fi is not booming anymore because Xfinity is no more.
It was booming.
Okay, it's not booming anymore.
It was booming, but Xfinity, we may need you back because the Wi-Fi was clicking. It was a little slow.
It was not booming. And also, I know we're talking about Liverpool and so on, but I've got to say, like, the football thing, when some people say they don't like football, that's such a lie because the comparison is, does somebody that plays golf, like casually, do they need to watch golf to say they're into golf? Or can they love golf for playing it? You know, surely it's the same for football. You know, you have a choice to do it however you want. And there's so many players that are like, I don't like football, don't like this. I've seen them play in rondels, they love it. Seen them do possessions, they love it. Small-sided games, they love it. Winning games of football in front of tens of thousands of fans, they love it. So yeah, you can try and play it down, but in reality, football's very much in your heart. Otherwise, you would not be playing it.
I love that from Nadam. Oh, Nadam.
Very sensible.
Very sensible.
Wise.
That's
Very
exactly
wise guy.
the kind of answer that we need. And of course, Nadam would know what the correct term for a bird watcher is.
Of course he would.
Of course he would. All right. Sorry, well, the next question is actually for Nadam as well. Nadam, other than Arsenal winning, has it been a perfect weekend for City fans going into the Champions League?
I'll be honest,
Against
I'm not going to
Burnley.
lie. The 12:30... Listen, don't worry about that game. I'm not going to lie, but the perfect feeling was United losing that early kickoff on a Saturday, because what a great way to start the weekend. But you don't talk too much because you need to see City win a game first. And when it went 1-1, we thought, this could be a bit awkward, because I'm sure there were some United fans that were very much Burnley fans that afternoon. So they win, that's great. Liverpool thought the comeback was on, but then they lose, so that changes the narrative a little bit. So yeah, City can just sort of drift into the background, and obviously there was a point when Arsenal looked like they weren't going to win today, so it almost felt like a perfect weekend for City trying to be successful. But that Saturday, yeah, I'll be honest, I'll take it. It was a good one.
Yeah, what a fun
How was your Saturday, Alexis?
My Saturday was great watching Borussia Mönchengladbach against Eintracht Frankfurt. It was great waking up at 7 a.m. to watch Manchester United in action.
Do you remember last week, you know, when she winning against Chelsea, when she came into the studio? What a nice weekend, blah, blah, blah. I didn't see the show yesterday. You were at the show? You were hosting the show yesterday, Alexis?
No, I was not on the show yesterday. I took a mental health day.
Okay, oh yeah, okay. And today you didn't have a word for your almighty team. Not a word. You know, what's wrong with your consistency?
I'm following the producer's rundown, and today Manchester United was not a topic we were to discuss. So
have you shown? Have you shown the world the boots you're wearing today?
No, but I've got pretty cool cowboy boots on.
I think you need to share with the world. Oh,
yeah. There we go.
Oh, my God.
These boots are made for walking.
They are.
Walking and stomping, like Man United stomp all over my feelings. But we move on.
You didn't see the tattoo in.
No, it is covered, because I'm ashamed. Next question now. Match day 6 performance. Start, bench, drop. Voltemada, Gyökeres, Isak.
Well, he's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Voltemada scored a goal, so he's going to start.
And it's got to be Gyökeres, and then unfortunately, Mr. Isak's last.
Gyökeres won the game. Isak, not so much.
Not so much. Boys, you agree?
Yeah, nothing much to say. Yeah, I agree.
All right, wow, that was easy. Look at everyone agreeing on something for a change. Next question. This one's for Ale. Oh, my days. And I think Ale paid us to put this one in here.
You did?
For Ale, to be honest, you're my favorite pundit, given how brilliant you analyze the game. Wow. But one thing that disappoints me...
Oh my God, he's from the family or what?
But one thing that disappoints me is how poorly you rate my GOAT, Cristiano Ronaldo. Now that he's near the end, why don't you please give him his flowers for what he has done in the game?
Well, thank you very much, Ahmed, Abdi. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support and the kind words. I don't know that I poorly rate Cristiano Ronaldo. I have said that many a times that Cristiano Ronaldo should be the example to many of the young players around the world, that because of his drive, because of how he has pushed himself to become the player that he has become, how he utilized the motivation of having a guy like Lionel Messi doing what he was doing to put himself in a position where he's going to score goals consistently and he's competing with that other monster over there. How he has managed late in his career to change his game, to morph into a different player and yet a still productive player. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of a kind and is one of the best players ever. Now, if poorly rating Cristiano Ronaldo means that I think Lionel Messi is a better player, then I have poorly rated Cristiano Ronaldo. In the comparison, I'll take Messi, but that doesn't take anything away from Cristiano Ronaldo and what he has achieved in this game.
All right, that settles that. Next question. This one's for Stevie and Ale. Stevie and Ale, Rashford was really positive again today. Are we starting to see the Rashford of a couple of years back? And what does that say about United, that he has gotten a decent run of good games under his belt, something that can't be said about United? Natum, did you send this one in?
So I'm out. Give it to them. I'm out.
Natum said
yeah, me too. Really, me too.
Go ahead,
me too.
Stevie.
Me too. I don't want to be involved in that, you know.
You know, when you're talented, I can assure you, it's a lot easier to play in a team that generally goes one way. And that's the way you like to play. So it shouldn't be a surprise that Rashford playing for Barcelona, he's shown well. It's when you're playing in a side that needs you to turn it around and it needs you to show something other than just everybody else setting you up. That's where Rashford's problem is. Not that he's not talented. And as I said, if you're playing on the best team, guess what? You're probably going to look pretty good.
Yeah.
But football's, not everybody can play in the best team. Not everybody can just play in the teams that win every time they step on the field. Sometimes you've got to roll your sleeves up and show that actually the desire to play the game is there. That's, I think, generally what we all have a problem with. He doesn't show the desire when things get tough. We've just been talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, you talk about a guy, it doesn't matter who he plays for. You know his desire is going to be exactly the same playing for a rubbish Man United as it is for a fantastic Real Madrid. His desire when he was at Man United was still the same as it was when he was at Real Madrid. Just so happened that everybody else around them wasn't good enough. But that didn't affect him. He still put his shift in. That's the problem that I guess I can only speak for myself. That's the problem I have with Rashford.
Ale, this was a question for you too.
Oh. All I need to say about Marcus Rashford is, in Barcelona, he had the sort of game that he had against Newcastle. And then next time around, he's late for a meeting and can't start a match. Be able to handle success and do so consistently. You do that, you'll have an important role at Barcelona because you bring a skill set that is valuable to that team. A change of pace that can be very valuable to Barcelona, and you'll have a role in which, while you may be an important contributor, you're not looked upon as the guy who's going to carry this team. And so you have all of the advantages and none of the pressures. If you can take advantage of that, then your time in Barcelona will be a successful one. If you're constantly late, then we'll be talking more about that than what we will about what you do on the field.
I agree.
I hope you do.
All right, that's it for extra
That's
time.
it. All right, so hey, let Frank go to sleep. He's tired.
Frank needs to sleep. Nathan needs
Frank.
to sleep. I need to go and memorize every player on Borussia Mönchengladbach.
No, you just need to look at it on the computer.
Load it now, Ale, like 10 minutes after we did that highlight.
Oh, no, it's not even on.
It's not even on.
It's not even on.
It's just for show, guys. It's just for show. Can't make this up. We'll be back giving you our professional opinions tomorrow on ESPN FC.
Yeah.
It looks bad when you pull your phone up in the middle of a live show.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Anyways, we're back on ESPN FC tomorrow. Dan Thomas will be back. Make sure to tune in on ESPN Plus.
Is he going to have a computer?
No.
Okay.